Today, we're diving into the world of mouthwatering Cantonese cuisine with a dish Claypot rice. Have you tried it? Tell me in the comments section. Claypot rice, a classic one-pot dish that's actually much easier to make at home than you might think. There are many versions, but this one is you never saw. In addition to using the surprise ingredients that will be introduced later this time, this video will share how to make soy sauce for Claypot rice at the end, and cooking with lard. Trying to present the traditional method of Claypot rice. Trust me, once you try this, you'll be hooked. This channel shares weekly tips on making traditional Cantonese dishes, such as how to use a clay pot properly and how to cook delicious rice. So, let's first demonstrate how to prepare the rice. The base of this dish, we will wash the rice 3 times, pouring out the rice washing water each time and replacing it with clean water. Is short grain rice or long grain rice better? My family has always used jasmine rice, which is a fragrant long grain rice for its Claypot rice recipe. However, if you prefer short grain rice, that'll work too. The rice will turn out softer, and the texture of the crust will be a bit different. How to cook perfect rice. To get the Claypot rice to the perfect texture, Rice Man recommends soaking the grains in hot water for 30 minutes first to give them a head start. That way, they'll be cooked through once it's time to start scoring the rice. While the rice is soaking, we start preparing ingredients. We need a whole piece of ginger. Because we separate ginger into 2 parts, let's do the first part first. We start by thinly slicing the ginger, then julienne, and finally move on to mincing the ginger. And the other part of ginger can be cut into shreds directly. Why do we do this? Because ginger paste can not only remove the bad taste of rice field eel, but also increase the taste of Claypot rice. Rice field eel, we called it Wong Sin in Cantonese, and in Taishan, it would be called Vong Sen. Rice field eel is not really eel. Preferred environments for Asian swamp eels include a variety of muddy, freshwater, shallow wetlands such as rice fields, so there will be an earthy smell inside the body. How to simply clean the rice field eel like a pro. Today, there are about 2 kilograms of eels here. After slaughtering, the rice field eels are washed with water to remove the blood. Put the cleaned rice field eel into a bowl, and then put a lot of cornstarch and salt. Coat every part of the rice field eel with salt and raw powder. When the salt and cornstarch combine with the eel's mucus, the eel's slime becomes easy to remove. At the same time, we also need to clean the viscera of the eel. Finally, remove the salt and raw powder with clean water. We need to repeat the above steps 3 times to ensure that the eels are clean. After cleaning 3 times, wipe off the remaining mucus and blood on the eel with kitchen paper. After the eels are processed, we continue to process other vegetables. 2 pieces of tangerine peel. These are sun-dried with fresh orange peel. In order to soften the orange peel, soak it in an appropriate amount of water to soften it. After the tangerine peel becomes soft, shred it. Do not pour out the water soaked in the tangerine peel. It will be used later when cooking. Next, take 3 garlic heads and chop the garlic heads into minced garlic, of course. If you want convenience, you can also use instruments to help, to shallots, because we will use it in soy sauce and Claypot rice. The first we cut into slices, the other quarter. Finally, prepare an appropriate amount of green onion and coriander and divide them into 2. Because the Claypot rice and soy sauce will be used at the same time, we will use the bottom of coriander to cook the soy sauce. Cut the remaining chives and coriander into fine pieces for later use. There is no need to separate the shallots and coriander. Taishan eel rice, also known as Eel Claypot rice, is a famous dish in Taishan. Taishan, also known as Toisin or Taishanese, is a district in Guangdong province, nestled in the Pearl River Delta. The region's fertile land provides the perfect conditions for cultivating the Taishan yellow eel. In the 1980s, when the local material conditions were relatively poor, Mr. Huang Kene, who liked to study food, began to explore and study the Taishan yellow eel. He found that the rice is sweeter and the eel is more fragrant after cooking the eel and rice in the same pot. So he gradually formed the unique method of making rice eel in Taishan. At the same time, eel rice has the effects of strengthening the body, dispelling yellow complexion, nourishing blood, and beautifying the face. If you want to know more traditional Cantonese cooking skills and knowledge behind it, please subscribe to our channel. We will share food step by step every week. Well, After knowing so many stories about eel claypot rice, let's start making this delicacy. Let's take out the claypot for cooking. When cooking, it is best to use a gas stove to cook if using an induction cooker. Make sure there is some space between the bottom of the pot and the induction cooker. If the induction cooker is in direct contact with the casserole will easily crack. Therefore, it is better to use a gas stove to make claypot rice. We have one special step that needs to be done first before getting a new clay pot. We'll let you know later. Put in 1 tablespoon of lard first. Spread the lard evenly to the inner wall of the casserole. Then put in rice that we soaked in hot water for 30 minutes, then drained. What does the lard do? Having oil on the bottom of the pot develops the scorched rice crust. It's more fragrant and it loosens up the rice. Mix oil and rice well. Then put in the water for soaking the tangerine peel. The ratio of water to rice is 1:1. Here is a trick to share with you. Adding hot water will make the rice cook faster. After making sure that the rice is evenly distributed in the pot, cover the pot and cook on low heat for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, when the water is boiling, put in the rice field eel we prepared. Spread all the rice eels evenly over the rice so that it cooks evenly. After all the rice field eels are put in, cover the pot and simmer for 7 minutes on low heat. With the lid on, we will show you exactly how to get the perfectly crispy scorched rice. Add an appropriate amount of lard along the side of the lid. Do you absolutely have to keep the lid on? Yes, don't uncover it, not until it's completely cooked. Then I'm going to start scoring the sides. Turn it down to medium heat. The handles are going to be hot here. Use a towel to hold them. Gloves and pot holders can also be used here. Take about 5 minutes to heat this side of the pot, making sure to move the pot at an angle so that the rice is evenly heated. Now, we'll turn the pot around and repeat the process. To avoid burning yourself, remember to hold the clay pot with a dry towel. Be careful not to get too close to an open flame. After this side of the pot is also burning for 5 minutes, we go to the next step. We went back to the eels and put the steamed eels on the plate. Then we separate the flesh of the eel from the bones because the rice field eel is already cooked. It is easy to separate the fish meat from the fish bones. After the eels are ready, we start to fry the eels. We take out the pan, heat the pot first, and when it reaches the temperature, put in an appropriate amount of oil. Turn to low heat. Add ingredients and stir fry. However, the ingredients cannot be put in all at once. You have to wait for the ingredients to emit fragrance before adding the next ingredient to stir fry. Because the cooking time of each ingredient is different, we have to put the ginger first, then the tangerine peel, and finally the shallots and garlic. When all the ingredients are fried until golden brown, add the eel. Then turn up the heat to high and add the seasoning and a quick stir fry. After the eel and all the seasonings are evenly fried, put the eel on the rice in the clay pot. After covering the pot, we proceed to the previous steps and continue to burn the sides of the pot that have just not been burned. We continue to cook for 5 minutes on each side. After 10 minutes, add homemade claypot rice soy sauce, chopped green onion, and coriander, and stir well to enjoy this delicacy. In addition, let's take a look at how the crust, which is called fanzu in Cantonese, works. Because with claypot rice, the point is to eat the scorched rice crust. Do you really want to know how to make soy sauce for claypot rice? We'll find out right now. Likewise, we take out the pan. When the pan is heated to a certain temperature, add lard. Then add shredded ginger, green onion, coriander, and shallots, and stir-fry the ingredients over low heat until they are fragrant. When the fragrance is released, add 7 tablespoons of water, 3 tablespoons of light soy sauce, 1/2 tablespoon of dark soy sauce, and 3 teaspoons of sugar. After the sauce boils for 2 to 3 minutes, add an appropriate amount of oyster sauce, stir again, and the homemade claypot rice soy sauce is complete. How Riceman seasons a clay pot. First, we'll wash it normally with dish soap. You should only use dish soap with glazed pots and not on unglazed pots. Second, then we'll completely submerge the pot and lid in piping hot water. Cover it and let it sit for at least 1 to 2 hours, but we recommend soaks it overnight. Third, in the morning, we'll wash it again and cook plain congee or some other plain starchy dish which you can eat. The starchiness of the congee helps to seal the tiny pores in the clay pot, which helps create more of a non-stick surface and helps prevent the pot from cracking in the future. There are also lots of other ways to season and maintain a clay pot, especially across different cultures. Congratulations, everyone! In addition to mastering the technique of this delicious traditional Cantonese dish, you also learned the story of this dish. Food, like people, has its own story. If you want to know more food stories, subscribe to our channel. Let me know by leaving your comment. Have you tried this Claypot rice? And finally, remember to like and share with your friends. Happy cooking and see you next time!